Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dan Daly, who is here on behalf of the Alzheimer's Orange County organization. Well, Dan, nice to see you. It sounds as though you're doing quite well since we talked a little bit offline.
Well, it's very nice to see you again, Lisa, and thank you for the opportunity and the invitation to join you on this day.
Well, you're welcome. And you got your vaccination, huh?
Sure do. I got my second one 2 weeks ago, so I'm feel pretty invincible.
Well, that's good. And I hope everybody does feel the same when they get theirs as well. So yeah, lots of progress is being made out there, which is very encouraging. Although something that you and I have talked about before, and I've talked to many doctors about it, is that because of this isolation and depression that has happened over the year, it's really hard for seniors just in general. But if you have something like Alzheimer's or dementia or a variety of other situations, you might suffer even more. Isn't that what you're finding?
Oh, no, actually, no question about that. I think the real issue has been the tremendous amount of fear that's been spread around the population, not only in Orange County, but throughout the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a result of that, people have a tendency to stay home and inside longer than they have to. I will say, though, the population is very resilient. 5 years ago, if somebody were to tell you that we're going to go to this great restaurant, but it's going to be in a tent outside in a parking lot, you would say, yeah, sure. I'll see you there in the 2050.
Yeah.
But people have adjusted very well, and thank God for the businesses that are still open, and namely the restaurants. Doesn't matter what size they are. I mean, at least they're alive and making some money, and that's very important.
Well, exactly. And I know that many of our seniors have been afraid, like you mentioned. They are afraid to go out. They were afraid to go to those tents, even though they were outside. It still was difficult for them because they were really worried. So, some of the people that who are suffering from Alzheimer's, was the fear, did it make it that much worse for them?
I would say so, because a lot of them don't understand, number one, the mask and the rationale behind using a mask. And they're not used to it, so they immediately take it off.
Mm.
And if they're inside, they're in a board and care facility or an assisted living facility, which is a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tendency to walk up to one another or to walk up to a caregiver without that mask on. And, you're in this very precarious situation at that time, because everybody knows how contagious this can be.
Well, exactly. And many of the nursing homes and care and things like that were hit pretty hard with the virus. So I think that is something to be super concerned about. However, now it would seem that many of them are getting their vaccinations. So things should be getting better from that perspective, where maybe they won't have to wear the mask.
Yeah, well, you figure when they first started the vaccinations, it was 75 and above, and then they reduced it to 65. The last I heard 24 hours ago was they're going to reduce it down to 50. So in order to get protection through the vaccination for the population in general, they're going to have to continue to reduce the minimum age requirement.
Well, as soon, as more people get vaccinated, they'll be able to do that, because obviously doesn't seem to be a problem getting the vaccinations now to the locations. I mean, we, of course, have vaccinated over 8,000 people here in the village. So we were,
Wow.
we were able to work with Memorial Care to take care of that. And then, of course, you have the sites, the pod sites, that are doing pretty well as well. So as long as those as long as the vaccines still are available, then we seem to be able to be making lots of progress. So from your perspective, what is a new opportunity? It sounds like you guys are doing something with COVID. What's happening there?
Yeah, what we did back in January, actually is the December 28th, we opened a unit. It's called the Fairview COVID Plus Care Unit at the Fairview Developmental Center in Costa Mesa.
Mhm.
And it's now into its third month, and it's a 25-bed unit, and it's for adults over the age of 18 who cannot easily isolate themselves in their existing or their current residence. And they also have been tested positive for COVID-19.
Mhm.
And to give you a little background, what will happen is when you're in an assisted living facility, whether it be a big one or a small one, or even somebody at home that can't afford those previous two, one of the problems is that they have a tendency to wander. And once they're diagnosed with COVID, because of the contagious aspect of it, they have to be isolated.
Mm.
So sometimes it's a physical impossibility. So what we did, we opened up this facility, and we're working very closely with the Department of Public Health for Orange County. And Jim McAleer, our CEO, he's a real visionary person. And he could see the opportunity develop where hospitals, for all intents and purposes, they don't have the beds to provide for people with COVID,
Mm.
especially the seniors.
Yeah.
So working along this, I believe it's Assemblywoman Petrie Norris,
Cotty,
and
yes.
very, very instrumental in helping us get this open. So it is licensed as an RCFE, and the RCFE stands for Registered Residential Care Facility for the Elderly.
Okay.
It is licensed for that, and we have 24/7 nursing care,
Mhm.
plus caregivers that are right there. And if you have somebody who's medically frail, or they have a disability, a physical disability, or the disability is with memory loss due to dementia,
Mhm.
along with being diagnosed with positive for COVID-19, that is the ideal candidate for the Fairview unit.
Okay.
So for all intents and purposes, it's really a godsend for a lot of people.
Do you have room?
Right now, we do have room because it's 25. There'll be another 50 beds that'll be opening it. So I think the maximum is going to be 75, but
Wow.
it's 25, and I believe they're waiting now on the additional 25 to bring it to 50.
That's amazing that you guys were able to secure that. So obviously it's a need. And I know, like you said, some people can't isolate. So maybe in a separate room or something, but they may not have that kind of space. So,
Exactly.
so that's
Yeah,
kind of the first.
there's definite physical limitations.
Okay. Okay. That is awesome. This is the first I've heard of it. Is it it's fairly, well, no, you said it was in this last December, right?
Yeah, December 28th of 2020 was the
Right.
first day that we started taking patients. The
Got
first
it.
month was January 2021.
Right. Okay. And I imagine you were probably pretty busy at that time.
Very busy. We're getting a lot of referrals from the County of Orange.
Yes.
I can tell you that it's at no cost, and there's a collaboration between Alzheimer's Orange County and the state of California. So all the fees have been approved through that collaboration. We
Okay.
also provide transportation to and from the residents, and that is via an ambulance.
Okay. Wow. That's really amazing that you guys were able to do that. That is wonderful news. Now, from a hospital perspective, have you been working with the local hospitals so they know about this as well?
Yeah, just about every hospital in Orange County is. We also work very closely with the Department of Public Health
Okay.
and all of the extensions that they have and all of the connections they have. Uh, People are very well aware of it. Plus, me personally and some of my colleagues, we're out in the community and promoting this.
Okay.
So it's there isn't a day that goes by that it doesn't gain additional exposure.
Yeah, well, good. Well, now all of our residents are going to know about it. So that's awesome. How does somebody get in touch with you about finding out more about that?
The best way to get in touch with us is go to our website, and there's a section devoted to the Fairview unit. And in there is the contact information as far as contacting the Fairview directly, or they can contact Patty Mouton, who's the VP of outreach and for us, and she's another contact.
Okay.
And but it's right there on our website.
Okay, that's perfect. Man, that's great. Well, thank you for letting us know about that. Now, of course, your operation doesn't stand still. You guys are still moving forward with your classes and your impact report and things like that, which is great. So let's real quickly touch on your virtual classes that you offer.
Yeah, the Mind Fit program for March, we're really focusing on nutrition for the mind, for the brain. We're also focusing on sleep for the brain. A lot of people don't realize this, Lisa, but you should be getting 6 to 8 hours sleep per night.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that is recommended is because everybody has a protein in their brain that's called amyloid. And whenever they've done an autopsy on a brain with of an Alzheimer's patient, they find a substantial amount of this amyloid. So there's a definite tie-in between the amyloid and Alzheimer's. Now, when you sleep, your brain is getting rid of this excess amyloid. So if you don't sleep adequately and you're not getting a good night's sleep, you're going to retain this amyloid.
Wow.
So it's detrimental to the brain. So that's why sleep is very important. So now some people, they can do 6 hours and they get a good night's sleep, they're restful, and they're ready to go for the day. Other people are going to require 8 or maybe 9. But it's when you have interrupted sleep patterns that you really don't get a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody, because of the Mother Nature calling in the middle of the night, you may have to, your bladder's saying, hey, I'm full, Dan, and I've got to excess. So you get up, when you go back to sleep, usually within 10, 15 minutes, you're back to sleep again. If you have difficulty getting back to sleep, then you should be talking to your doctor about that.
Right, exactly. Well, good to know. I certainly try to get as much sleep as possible because I like sleeping.
Well, it's good for you. And what isn't good for you is when you take medications that you become very dependent upon.
Right.
And that's not healthy. That's defeating the purpose of getting a good night's sleep.
Exactly.
But if you're active during the day and you're exercising and you're eating right, your nutrition is sound, you're going to do fine. The other thing we recommend, and it's part of the curricula for the month of March, is exercises. There are a lot of different exercises you can do for the brain. Just on the internet alone, there have to be about 200 plus exercises. So just doing crossword puzzles, they're fine, but you reach a point where after a while, it's non-productive because it's no longer a challenge.
Oh, there's if people who have smartphones too, they can always utilize some games. There's lots of fun games where you have to go level to level. So each level is harder. So that's kind of challenging.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we're doing these virtual programs, and going to be a different focus every month. We're also have the Fit Brain Club now, which is in Laguna Woods.
Right.
And that's working out to be very beneficial to a lot of different people. We
Right.
have various presenters come in. It might be an MD, it could be a neurologist, it could be a nurse, it could be a licensed social worker. Anybody who is very proficient in a particular topic that we want to offer to the residents. We schedule these like 6 months in advance. So that's done on a monthly basis as well. And again, it's part of the education process, which is very beneficial to the residents.
That's great. That's great. Now let's touch on your impact report.
All right, the 2020 was a very busy year for us. We made a huge shift in doing as many virtual programs as possible, but we were also out in with the public, and we distributed almost 70,000 masks throughout Orange County. Now, we had different organizations donate masks to us. And then in turn, we donated them to senior citizens groups, churches, synagogues. We did a lot with outfits like Saddleback Church. They have a food pantry in different parts of the county that we worked with them very closely. We also distributed over 40 gallons of sanitizer and hand sanitizer.
Wow.
Yeah, we also did a helpline. We received 6,325 calls from individuals and families and caregivers throughout the year. And this was all designed to help them cope with that particular situation that has become a real challenge for them.
Sure.
I mean, this challenge of having to be inside has created all kinds of problems for families, especially with a loved one with dementia.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate everything that you have been doing, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for the update.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for the opportunity to discuss and review a lot of the programs that we find very, very beneficial to the residents.
Good. Well,
so our goal is and our mission is to improve the status of not only the individual, but the families that are coping with this very devastating, challenging disease.
Exactly. Well, Dan, thank you again, and good luck to you guys in the next few months. We'll touch base again.
All right, sounds great. Good to see you again, Lisa.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back